Welcome back to Bible Answers. We're so glad you could join us today. If you're new here, please don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you never miss out on our Bible study sessions and spiritual discussions. Now, today we're diving into a topic that's relevant for so many people today, and that's greed. Yes, greed. What does the Bible say about it, and how should we as Christians approach it in our lives? Greed can be defined as an excessive desire for wealth and gain. And now, the operative word there is excessive. It's that insatiable hunger for more, whether it's money or possessions or power. While ambition and success can be good things when pursued with the right heart, the Bible warns us that greed can lead us down a dangerous path. Let's look at what Scripture teaches us about greed and why we should guard our hearts against it. Now, first is Luke, and that's Luke 12th chapter, 15th verse. Then he said to them, "Watch out. Be on your guard against all kinds of greed. Life does not consist in an abundance of possessions." In this verse, Jesus himself gives us a strong warning against greed. He tells us to watch out for greed because if we sneak into our lives greed, it comes in many forms. Jesus reminds us that life is not about how many possessions we have or how much wealth we accumulate. Our value, our true value, is not determined by what we own, but by our relationship with God and how we live out His word, His love in this world and in our hearts. Now, First Timothy 6, 9 and 10 says, "Those who want to be rich fall into temptation and a trap, and into many foolish and harmful desires that plunge people into ruin and destruction. For the love of money is a root of all kind of evil." We heard this before. Some people eager for money have wandered from the faith and pierced themselves with many griefs. Now, here Paul gives us a sobering reminder about the dangers of pursuing wealth for its own sake. The key point here is that it's not money itself that's evil, but the love of money. When we become consumed with getting rich, we can easily lose sight of God and what truly matters. Greed leads us to chase after temporary gain while neglecting the eternal value of a life lived in faith and service to others. Now, let's look at what Ecclesiastes says. Ecclesiastes 5 and 10, "Whoever loves money never has enough. Whoever loves wealth is never satisfied with their income. This too is meaningless." Now, this verse from Ecclesiastes speaks to the emptiness of greed. No matter how much we accumulate, it will never truly satisfy the deepest longings of our hearts. The constant pursuit of wealth leaves us always wanting more, but it's ultimately proven to be meaningless. True fulfillment can only come from knowing and walking with God. In Proverbs, we learned that Proverbs 15 and 27, "The greedy bring ruin to their households, but the one who hates bribes will live." This proverb shows that greed not only harms us individually, but it also affects those around us. Greed can cause strife, conflict, destruction within families and relationships. It also leads to unethical decisions like taking bribes, which can devastatingly have consequences. But rejecting greed and dishonest gain, through doing so, we live in integrity and experience lasting peace. What good is it for someone to gain the world yet forfeit their soul. Mark 8:36. Jesus challenges us to consider the eternal cost of chasing after worldly success. What's the point of gaining all of the wealth and material possessions in the world if the process means that we lose our souls? This verse serves as a powerful reminder to prioritize what truly matters, our relationship with God, and living a life that reflects His love, His values. In the 6th verse, Proverbs 28:25, the greedy stir up conflict, but those who trust in the Lord will prosper. Here, Proverbs highlights the relational harm that greed causes. Greed often leads to conflict, competition, and division, as people prioritize their own desires over others. On the other hand, those who trust in the Lord and place their hopes in Him rather than in wealth will experience true prosperity, not just material, but spiritual prosperity that brings peace and contentment. In Hebrews 13:5, keep your lives free from the love of money and be content with what you have, because God has said, never will I leave you, never will I forsake you. This verse encourages us to live content lives rather than chasing after more wealth. We are called to be satisfied with what we have, trusting that God will provide for all of our needs. The promise of God's presence with us, never will I leave you, never will I forsake you, is far greater than any material possession. As we've seen, the Bible offers clear warnings against greed and the love of money. It's important to remember that it's not wrong to have financial goals or to work hard for success. But when wealth becomes an obsession, or when the pursuit of material things at the expense of our faith and relationships, we run the risk of letting greed take root in our hearts. So, how can we guard ourselves against greed? First, by focusing on contentment and gratitude for what we have. Second, by placing our trust in God as our ultimate provider. And third, by remembering that our true wealth comes from living a life that honors God and serves others. I'd love to hear from you. What Bible verses help you stay grounded when it comes to money and possessions? How do you keep greed from taking over your life? Let's talk about it in the comments. If you found this video helpful, please don't forget to thumbs up, share it with someone who might need to hear this message. And of course, please subscribe for more Bible-based content. Join us next time for another session of Bible Answers. And until then, may God bless you with peace, contentment, and wisdom in every aspect of your life. See you in the next one.